Okay, so did some playtesting. Here's some conclusions I came to. I think this is good enough for hard, or rather, simple enough for hard. I might see if nudging this down just a little bit makes going from here to here a little bit more relaxed. But it wasn't too bad. And I'm debating about taking this wall out there. Because for a hard player, this is probably interesting enough that you don't need to add in dodging things to keep it interesting. I'm not sure. Maybe I'll just kind of nudge the wall there and give the player a little bit of an illusion of dodging things without actually needing to do it. See how that goes. So I want to copy that note and mirror paste it there. Although I just moved it down one. I suppose I could have just remembered that. Suppose though if I do that, that's marginally more efficient. And this is different, so I don't want to paste over that. I think that's fine. Okay, so this section I changed substantially. I think those alternating hand staggered pairs were a bit much. I could just make them not alternating hand, but I wanted to differentiate this section from the previous section. And a large part of what differentiated them on the expert map was going from same hand to alternating hand with those pairs. So I tried some things, and then I tested, and then I tried and tested and tried and tested. I think where I landed is a pretty simple cross hand thing. So reach across right hand, reach across left hand, back to the pattern. And that varies up the rhythm that the player plays a little bit. I think this is a pretty simple cross hand, but it's also a little bit big. So I think this will be engaging for a hard player without overwhelming them, since there's like a measure in between and after each of those notes. I think that's enough time to give a hard player to go, oh wait, that's the other hand, and not feel like they got tricked or something. So I just went ahead and copied that into the subsequent repetitions of it. All right, so do I want to do some wall nudging for this section as well? That is the question. It looks like I did it for the first part, or like right at the beginning of it. I think I was still considering this part of the last section, even though it isn't. Yeah, maybe I'll just keep doing that. Okay, and then go back here, drag, mirror paste. Okay, so this section I think is pretty close to being fine. I mean, I wasn't really trying to push the player on expert with this section. It's kind of more of a like, hey, relax a little bit. We'll get back to moving your hands around a little bit in a second. I might keep it from, like, I might remove any cross-handing with this section though, but otherwise kind of still do the clap beats and roughly following the rail while I do them. but not cross-handing. So I think I'll do that, and then probably just nudge this in a little bit. Because otherwise the not cross-handing might push me pretty far out to one side. Not that where it was before. I mean, that would probably be fine. Don't know if I want to do that, though. Because, again, we're trying to keep this section kind of relaxed. Maybe for variation, go a little bit lower with that one. Yeah, that seems fine. Right? Yeah, okay, yeah, I don't have my hands mixed up, so it's fine. Okay. And then, yeah, kind of vary it up. A little above the rail, a little below the rail, a little above the rail, rather than, you know, on one side of the rail and then crossed over the rail and back. I think that'll be good. I keep coming across those. Is that something that I bump? Oh, because I raised it up a little bit in the expert version. I don't know if really raising it one grid really made any appreciable difference. I don't remember noticing that little variation when I was playtesting. Okay. Right, and then this rail was continuing into this. I wonder if I should keep doing the same thing, more or less keeping the rail but removing the crosshand clap notes, or rather changing the crosshand clap notes to not be cross-handed. Let's see how that does. Alright, so changing pretend is the rail there, so this is not cross-handed, which is good. That's what I want. That one wasn't cross-handed either. Excellent. Okay, this is almost certainly going to change. I don't know if that sort of rapid orb stacking is going to be good for hard, by which I mean I'm pretty sure it's not going to be good for hard. So, now I could maybe just rail it instead of orb stacking it. Yeah. Copy. There we go. Probably should have dragged and copied. Oh well. Now, is that substantially easier? It's definitely less intimidating than the quick orb stack. You're basically doing the same thing here, though. I might just keep that same-handed. Let's see. And just make that one rail rather than two rails with different hands. And then... do I want to keep going with pairs on this? Probably. And I might just switch the sides and handedness of each of these. Like I might just do that. And then just making a little placeholder there. And then, wait, I wanted to do this. Yeah. Nope. Nope. Dirt. Nope. Okay, take a breath, take a breath. Okay, there we go. Wait, is that right? Oh wait, I don't want that to be a note. I just want the rail to go there. That's why the sound effects sounded weird. Okay. I think that preserves a lot of what was going on there before, while being simple enough for hard, probably. Okay. How's that go? Yeah, it was that guy. Okay. Da-da. I think I want to go out in here. And might just let that note go. Yeah, since I'm kind of swapping over to the offbeat there, I think it's fine to just drop that note, which was, yeah, right at the beginning of the section on the beat. Okay. How much do I want to simplify this? Do I want to do fewer walls? Do I want to not go cross-handed into a wall so much? Not really cross-handing that much, so getting rid of the cross-body into wall thing probably wouldn't simplify things that much. Of course, I don't know if this section needs to be simplified all that much, but maybe I'll just take out some walls. If anything, it's just gonna maybe be less intimidating for the player. For example, there's still probably naturally going to be right of center when hitting this note, regardless of whether there's a wall here or not. But At least I don't have to like worry about dodging the wall to hit the note. Yeah, and that still preserves a bit of the like crossbody with the wall and then crossbody without the wall. So they're kind of going like right and then up and then left and then back up right. Yeah, I think I'll just keep doing this. Just taking walls out. What did I just do there? Okay, next question. Am I making the player reach too far anywhere? Might nudge that in a little. And likewise that one. Being low, that might be a little bit far for hard. Like to do while crouching. So maybe I'll give this guy a little nudge that way. And likewise. And then same with this. Alright, and then I believe that was a little bit like that. Alrighty, and then we're back to this again. And there we go. Incidentally, this is perhaps another thing in the pro column of being a hacky hack like me that copy paste wide swaths of things, is when you're doing the downgraded difficulties, you're kind of compounding your time savings the way I do it. Like, because if you remapped that whole thing, if you reinvented the wheel on expert, then you also have to translate that down to hard again. And then when you're translating it down, if you aren't being a hacky hack like me and just keeping what you've got and simplifying a little bit, and you're reinventing the wheel, then like you're reinventing the wheel a whole lot if you're making like an expert version and you're changing things every time on expert, and then you're making a hard version from scratch and you're changing everything on hard, and then you make a normal version and you change everything on normal. I just don't have it in me. All right. Okay, and then this section. Oh, I guess because I selected from the beginning of the section rather than... Yeah, that's fine. I wanted to get rid of this note anyway, I'm pretty sure. Okay, and then... just want to make sure there are no awkward transitions. Yeah, it seems fine. Is that too much of a reach? Maybe. And the map editor is doing that thing again. Fine. I just wanted to do that map editor. Why you gotta make my life hard? Okay, and then the next transition. Oh wait, that's not where it is. It's up here. Seems fine. Yeah, looking good, I think. Alright, and then we're back to here, which if I recall was pretty much the first two sections of here. I also noticed that when I'm dragging to copy an area, I usually don't want to include that first measure of the next section. So let's just roll that back a little bit and then copy that. And it was here. This is where I was. Yeah. Okay. And then we'll just copy paste, but again, we're doing something different here. How much easier do I need to make this? I think probably not much. I mean, ways that I could simplify this, could tighten the circle a little bit so the player doesn't have to move as much. Could take out like every other note. Don't know if I really like that. Because part of the point of doing the orb stacks is to hit each one of those notes, rather than like doing a rail where you're just kind of blurring them all together. I think this is probably still fine for hard in the same way that the other section was. Just remove any crossing and should be good. So let's get this guy. Let's see, where is it, the rail? Maybe about there. Then maybe go a little lower with that one. This one was high, so that one. Maybe I'll put that back there. Low with this one just a little bit. That's probably not too far of a reach though, because with this one, if I go low, then I'm like down here, and that's not good for hard. Now is the simultaneous holding the rail here and then starting there. Is that going to be a bit much? Where's the last node? It's all the way back here. Might just make a node in between. Let's see, that's okay. Maybe I'll just go to the half measure. Turn snap to grid off, place a node there, get rid of that node there, and then that way the player doesn't have to hold the note all the way until they catch this note. Yeah, I think that's probably good for hard. Okay, where was I? I was making sure that there wasn't cross-handing stuff. These look good. Okay. Yeah. I should probably just do the whole section. There we go. Okay, I want to simplify that a little bit. Might take out these crouches. But otherwise, might be fine. If it's too much, maybe bring it into the blue circle with these. But it's probably good. We'll see how that goes. And then you'll see how fast this is going. I'm already pretty much at the end of the map where I'm just going to do more copy-paste hackery. So these were these two sections. And then did I mirror or did I just keep them? I kept them the same. Okay. And then these two were these two sections. Yeah. And then if I recall, I did mirror paste these for transition reasons. And then... oh right, I didn't examine this. Yeah, the little crossbody wall hits arm dance thing might be no good for hard. So, I might just put those back to the right side of the body and not into the wall. And that'll give the player a similar sort of like dancey feel of like weaving in and out of the walls while they're hitting the notes, but without being quite so tricky. Alright. So that had the unintended consequence of needing to fix this little guy right here, because that's not really good. So maybe I'll make him left or right-handed again. Yeah, that should be good. Okay. So I'll probably want to start copying from that note. I think these gold notes are fine. In fact, when I was playing it, I was thinking I might want to do something a little bit more drastic for expert. That might be a little bit weak for expert, I'm not sure. Okay, and then back to this note here. These were probably mirror pasted, yeah. Alrighty. Naturally, some playtesting will need to be done, but that's probably a reasonably successful downscale. I might, since before the thought escapes me, have another look at these. Like, I might want to go just a little low, high in addition to the left, right. I think that's going to be a little bit better. Just a little bit more emphatic. Just a little bit more body movement for the player. Okay. And yeah, probably playtesting time. Alright, did a bit of playtesting, had a little break, had a little food, looked through it in the map editor a bit as well. I think I got a few things to tweak a little bit. One of them I just did before I started recording. And that was, you might recall in this section when I was bringing it down to hard, that I snipped this rail back a little bit so it isn't held all the way until this note begins in the mirrored section there. But I forgot to go back and do the same for this rail here. So I just went back and did that and copy pasted it down the line. So that's one thing. Second thing, I think, regrettably, I'm gonna get rid of the doubles. It just seems a little bit too much for hard to go like swipe, swipe, bop, and then like double hit. So I think I'm just gonna go ahead and get rid of those. And then it's still differentiated from this next section, because in this section I simplify even more, do some crossovers. So it should be good. Wait, did I get rid of? Nope. Oh yeah, I need to go one past this note and copy. Okay, yeah. Okay, that's a different section. There we go. Okay. And then, did I get rid of that second one back here? I did. So I guess I should be consistent and do that here as well. Don't know if that's strictly necessary though. It's not as tricky as it was in the other repetitions. Okay, this section's good. I vaguely recall when playtesting there's some transitions right before where I go offbeat on it. Yeah. Because like with this part was fine. And I remember there was like a note somewhere on this, the beginning of the measure, but I decided to take it out since I was switching over to the offbeat, and that makes it feel a little bit less rushed. But I think I saw something like that elsewhere when I was testing. Maybe it was up here? Yeah, there. Wait, no? Maybe I was thinking of something else. Maybe it will come back to me next time I test. Probably a bigger thing that I think I'm gonna change is this section here. Because I think I inadvertently changed the focus. Like I was trying to, if you recall, catch like the quadruplets of like the xylophone, I think it is, hits. But I think I've just put the emphasis on the same rhythm as in the beginning of the track. So I might try something a little bit different and see how that works. So let me make sure I'm at the beginning. Could probably turn the music back down a little bit. The sound effects back up a little bit. Okay. And I think I'm gonna do, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, do some little half circular rails. Now probably before I forget, snip this note or this rail back a little bit, because that's probably a little bit awkward, particularly for hard. So let's get that out of the way, and then snap the rail off. I probably want to go half measure back. I think that's what I did for the other rails. There we go. Okay, back to this rail. Let's see. I don't think I need to go blue circle with it. I think yellow circle, or maybe modify it a little bit. We're gonna do something like this. That might be a bit much. Might be a bit much. Because I intend on mirroring this immediately right here with a left hand. So I think I will model this on the blue circle after all. But I might nudge this up and out just a little bit, or maybe just out just a little bit, to get the player moving back and forth just a little bit more. And hopefully that will be adequately dancey. And then... Maybe I'll do some easy two-handers here. That's not right. Nope. Yeah, I guess that's probably where I want that. Okay. Now will this transition well if I mirror paste? Let me think. Kind of going right to left, left to right, hit, back to left. Yeah, that's probably good. 'Cause with these, let's see, from here to here, and then to here, and then to here, I'm moving the player left and right on each of those steps. So, it might be... It might feel good to just let them stay left and prepare for the next section. Wait, which way was this? Yeah. Okay, then I can probably change that from a double into a kind of staggered hit kind of thing. Yeah, I think I'm gonna like that better. And this is a sort of pattern that I've used in other songs that in my opinion feels pretty good and dancey. And maybe hopefully this will evoke the danciness of those xylophone quadruplets. I'm still kind of hitting the same rhythm though. But I don't know. It might not be something that you can really help. Because it's probably not a great idea to do the note stacking like I did on Expert. I mean, I guess you could, but I don't know. I don't know if I'm a fan of it. Let's see, where was I now? Yeah. Okay, and then pretty sure if I recall correctly, this is gonna repeat. So let's make sure. Yeah, there we go. Okay. I think elsewhere I was nudging this wall out a little bit. That probably wound up there because of copy pasting of a section. Is that like that back here? Yeah. Because I think I was pretty consistent in nudging the walls out just a little bit to give the player the sense of moving around the wall without, really having to do it. Yeah. Seemed like I was fairly consistent with that in that section. And like hopefully also with this section, the decorative walls down low combined with the swiping motions will evoke those quadruplets. I don't know, we'll see. Okay. Anything else? Yep, another one of those. Okay. Yep. Might be time to test again and make sure that these sections came out. I'm pretty sure they will, though. This is a fairly familiar kind of pattern for me, and it's worked before. So yeah, probably do some playtesting, make sure it's fine. And if nothing jumps out to me, downscale to normal, which likewise should probably go by pretty quickly. So yeah, be back in a bit. Hey. So yeah, it's I don't know, like a couple days later. Had some dinner, had some wine with dinner, got a little whiskey for dessert, and I thought, hey, let's get down there and map that normal map, because I seem to be in the correct mindset for it. So here we go. So I think where we left off, more or less had wrapped up hard, playtested hard, felt like it was fine. So yeah, moving on to normal. Starting with the hard map, grab everything and paste it to the normal map. So probably talked about this a little bit before. Expert, you can do a lot of stuff with expert. I feel like you have to be a little bit restrained and not like go into master, but you can do a lot of stuff with expert. Hard, you're still dealing with people that have played the game enough that, you throw some curveballs at them occasionally, but most of the time, keep it simple. Normal, if I understand normal correctly, which there's a strong possibility that I don't, you're dealing with people that have their level of game mastery is that they can remember which color goes with which hand most of the time. So no tricky stuff, or if you do some tricky stuff, like give them time to prepare for the tricky stuff and do so sparingly. So let's see. The lead-in is pretty easy. Do I want to nudge this in? I mean, it's pretty much, step down the speed for scrolling. It's pretty much in the blue circle. Well, maybe not so much. Okay. I mean, since it's supposed to be like a very easy, relaxed sort of intro here, let's just go ahead and nudge that. If not in, then like close to the blue circle. That note should be fine. Go and nudge that a little bit. Oof, yeah, that's way out there. I might simplify the circular motion just for the sake of nudging this last little node in. I could just nudge it in, but then like I'd have to nudge this one in and that one in. Sooner or later I'm nudging them in like half grid spaces, and I just don't feel like doing that. So let's just get rid of that node and that node. And yeah, we should be good. Maybe I'll bring this guy up a bit, because down there might be a little bit low. But yeah, I don't think there's a great deal more thought to put into that. Other than a normal player could probably take out the, or deal with the duck, but I'm just going to take it out anyway. Okay. So there are different things I could do here to simplify this. If it needs to be simplified, I'm not entirely sure that it does. But again, normal. So if in doubt, you know, rather go a little easy than a little hard. I'm not sure. So I could bring these in a little bit closer. I could simplify it so that they're not double, it's just single hits. What do I want to do with this? I think I do like the doubles there, so I think I might just nudge things just a little bit. I mean, that should still be quite easy to pull off. That might be a bit much. I think I'll be good just doing it that way. Yeah. Maybe get rid of that wall there. Oh, yeah. That's the beginning of the new section, and I wanted to keep the doubles. So let's go ahead, do that real quick. Another thing I could do to simplify it is just kind of bring everything a little bit closer together. Make it a little bit easier to read, a little bit less intimidating. Could also simplify the rhythm even more and say take out that guy there. Or maybe it'd be better to take out that guy there so that the rhythm is more even. That might be where I land on this. Let's see. Yeah, I think so. Yep. Let's just keep doing that. And then, as I recall, it changes slightly, so let's just mirror paste these two guys. I've simplified the rhythm to the point where this section and this section are becoming less and less distinct. Or at least that's my worry anyway. How much will a player that plays on normal care? I'm not really sure. Yeah, that might be a bit much. Maybe... Okay. That might be a little bit much for normal. Particularly since it's not in the most ergonomic of positions. Like to explain, like if you're talking about left-handed, this is where you kind of go down from the left and then up and to the right, and you kind of imagine that with your hand motion. Actually, for the sake of explaining, let's just go ahead and move that guy up a little bit. So down from the left and up and to the right. You're kind of like a large part of the movement's coming from the shoulder, whereas if you did sort of the reverse, and you put that guy down here and that guy back up there, and you kind of imagine, like pantomime that with your left arm, most of the pivoting is coming from your elbow, which ends up being quite a lot easier. So I'm thinking I might just kind of do something like that and then bring these in a little bit so that they're not quite such a big motions. I think a normal player can swing that well enough. Yeah, I think these walls are fine. They're normal, or I mean they're decorative, basically. Like you don't really have to actually dodge that wall, and I don't think a normal player is going to be like, oh, walls, what do I do? Especially when the wall isn't actually coming for them. So I think we're good. Okay. I think I'll just change the color so that we're not crossbody on both of these hits, and then that should be perfectly fine for normal. Okay. Now I just kind of want to look at that again and see if those first two sections are distinct enough. I suppose they're give or take as distinct as they are in the other difficulties. So if I'm not worried about it in those cases, I suppose I should stop worrying about it so much here. Okay. And then, since that section is the same as this section, wha-bam. Sip of whiskey. Okay, so I think again stepping this down is going to be pretty easy. Let's just take out the clap notes. I think this will be pretty darn manageable for a normal player. Just making sure none of these reaches are unreasonable. I mean, at worst, we're like yellow circle, and that's only for like a couple hits, so I don't think that's going to be a problem. Now, I mean, I might be worried about nothing, but right now I'm thinking, is the combination of like the rail into a duck too much for a normal player? Like, it's marginally easier if I just remove the rail and let these be like individual notes, which won't really affect how they're played all that much, other than it being less visually complicated, such that a normal player might be more comfortable with it than as it is. So I think I might just go ahead and do that. Either that or take out the crouches, but I mean, it seems like the crouches are more interesting than the rails. So I think, oh, yeah, sometimes that happens. You try to remove a node, but you like remove some wall in the background instead. So, you know, something to be mindful of. Okay. Now, do I want to simplify the rail, or do I want to just simplify by not having a rail and just having individual nodes? I might just do this. I think a normal player can swing this just fine. Because, I mean, that right there, it's just right, left, nothing complicated. And two doubles that are close by and not crossed or anything like that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's good. And this kind of retains, like, 80% of the essence of this, I think. So yeah, I think I'll just do that. Okay. I might just more or less remove the walls from the wall dancing section here. Because I think for a normal player, just swapping their brain over to the offbeat is probably tricky enough. I have to reach way back in my memory to think, but like, I remember way back in like DDR days where I was a rhythm game noob, and like it took me a bit to get over the hurdle of like, oh, what is it doing? Like, offbeat, I get it now. So, yeah, I definitely don't want... Do I still have the crossbody into wall hits like that? Yeah, I do. Definitely don't want those in there. But I'm thinking for the most part, probably... I don't know if it's sufficient to just remove those, or to just remove the walls in general. Maybe remove those and remove the duck. I don't think just dodging left and right walls is something that a normal player can handle. Especially since I've already removed half of the walls for hard mode. So maybe if I just swap that over to a not, you know, cross-bodied hit. Alright, and then probably remove the duck, question mark? Almost certainly want to get rid of that guy there. In fact, I vaguely remember getting rid of quote-unquote that guy there on hard as well. But nevertheless, I copy-pasted from hard. Let's see, where else does this transition occur? Okay, maybe not. Seems to be consistent. Any other 3B? Okay, yeah, fair enough. I don't think that's a problem. Were there any unreasonable reaches here? I don't think so. Oh, wait. I don't want to get rid of that one, just the crouches. Yeah, I think that'll do. I think probably get rid of that guy. Ah, the map editor's doing the thing again. Yeah. Okay, fine, map editor. Guess we'll just have to do it this way. There we go. Okay. Pretty sure if I just mirror paste here, everything will be good. Okie dokie. And then same goes for this. Wait a minute. That doesn't seem right. Oh. Wait. Yeah, there we go. I guess I didn't have the markers in quite the same place. For this one, I had my bookmark with the offbeat. And for this one, I had it at the beginning of the measure. It's an odd little wall. How did you get there? Yeah, I must have not stepped it back one when I copied there. Okay. I probably should make sure. Yeah, there was supposed to be a wall there. Okay. Yeah, let's just undo that. And then, let's see, that was this section. Step it back one, copy. Oh, right. Okay. Okay. How much does this need to be simplified? Because it's not very reachy. And it's not even really that bad, just weave it in and out of the wall since I'm not making them reach very far. But it is normal. I think I'll probably need to scooch these gold notes in just a little bit. Will it be too simple without the walls, though? Or mayhaps I can just do the little nudge, nudge. You don't actually need to dodge the walls, but maybe you might think that you do, kind of thing. Might just go with that. Okay. So let's see. As I recall, this was these two sections. And probably mirrored, yeah. Okay. Since I don't really orb stack much, I'm a little bit less sure how much this needs to be simplified for normal. Like, if I just brought it into like blue circle instead of yellow circle, would that be good enough? Would a normal player be able to handle that? Or they'd be like, that's a lot of notes, I don't know what to do. I think I mentioned before the solution might be to take out like every other note, but then it feels less like an orb stack and more like just 4 individual notes. Which I guess that might be fine, I don't know. Maybe that's what I'll do. And maybe just kind of nudge things in a little bit. Okay. And then, like before, get rid of that layer of clap notes. Just let the normal player ride the rail. Yeah, that should be pretty easy. Is that too much? I think it'll be fine if I nudge things in a little bit. Oh wait, one thing I forgot to consider is the amount of motion in this rail. I mean, it's a very gradual, slow motion, so like, I don't think a normal player is going to have too much trouble with that. But then the question is, even though they're different hands, is the jump from about there-ish to all the way up here gonna be too much. I could do like before and maybe truncate the rail even more. Then the player has like a full measure to reach out there, which I would think a normal player would be capable of doing. Yeah. So let's see, that was the first rail, right? Yeah. Okay. And then I was gonna nudge these in a little bit, if I recall. Yeah, it should be good. Alright, and then this was going to be a mashup, so if I recall, those two sections were these two sections. And I think just a regular paste, yep. And then these two sections were these two sections? Let's see. Yeah. Yeah, okay. And then... Okay, yeah. Oop. That section was mirror pasted. Then just need to add that little thing onto the end. Okay. And let's have a watch to make sure nothing looks weird due to pasting. Okay. And I guess these things just came along for the ride. Make sure that those aren't there at the end of the other versions for some reason. Nope. Nope, just happened on normal. Okay. So this is probably good. I mean, naturally I'll have a play test. To be honest, there's probably less use in me playtesting this than the other ones, just because like normal is more foreign to me than the other ones. I mean, hard is still a bit foreign to me, but like you're drifting farther away from what I'm used to the lower in difficulty you go. So yeah, so probably have a playtest and then come back either with minor tweaks to this thing, or maybe I'll just organize some final thoughts to go with this whole thing. So yeah, see you soon. Hey people, I think we're just about ready to wrap this thing up. I did a little playtest on normal. There are a couple things that stood out to me that I think we can fix real quick. And then probably have a little, I don't know, discussion about random topics to wrap things up. And then I think this thing will be good to go. So, things that needed tweaking. One of them is in this first section. these two notes. So originally on Expert, these were two pairs of notes. The first one started on the measure, and the second one ended on the measure. But I just kind of kept the first for each one, which is probably fine, but I feel like it's a little awkward on normal. And probably the reason I did that is because on hard, I left one more little note there. So that kind of makes sense, but if this note were instead on the measure, I don't know if I quite like that as much. That might be fine too, but that's not what I went with. I went with this. I don't think that works quite as well on normal, and also it might be a little bit trickier on normal, so I think I'll just move this one to be on the beat instead. Oof. I've been getting robocalled all day. Sorry about that. Yeah. So I think that's what I'll go with. Oops. And then I'll have to remember all the places where that pattern exists. That didn't change. Did I mess this up here? I did. Yeah. Yeah, this one seems to be on the measure already. Okay. So that should be fine. So I'll need to copy and mirror paste that first section. Okay. So let's see, where does one repeat? Could have swore it comes up sooner than all the way at the end, but maybe that's just because the whole song's kind of blurring together a little bit. There's one section that I'd kind of mislabeled. Here we go. I think it's this one. Yeah. Okay. And then once more at the end. Okay, and then I wasn't totally a fan of the rail with the notes for normal. I don't know exactly if I want to scale back the movements a bit, or remove the notes, or do like I did over here where this was a rail. Oh, well, I guess that's, yeah, and remove the rail but leave the notes. Because it is marginally more difficult to whack notes on a rail than it is to just do the rail. I guess that's more of a force thing than a rhythm thing, but also for normal, there's that whole element of like rails being relatively forgiving in terms of how hard it is to fail a rail, and how failing a rail doesn't usually break combo unless you fail it real badly, but missing a note does. I think I'll probably just go ahead and take out the notes, or the orbs, or you know. Okay. Just double checking. Okay. And I think those were the things. Yeah, this one was different from the other one, so I don't think there's anything I wanted to fix about that. Okay. I suppose, yeah, this seems like a good time as any to talk about it. I'll probably leave normal as it is. In reality, I would probably put a little bit more brain work, but I think enough work has been done into it for illustration purposes. I do have a little bit of a worry that, while I don't think anything about the normal map is particularly difficult, it might just be that the sheer number of notes in the long run, without a lot of respite, might be a bit much for normal. To my limited observations of normal maps, there are times where the player's just kind of left to do nothing for a few measures, and that's probably fine for normal. It might even be desirable for normal, so that, you know, a player can kind of collect themselves because they're new to this stuff. I really didn't do any of that here, but I don't feel like anything about it is too difficult for normal, so I might just leave it and just kind of share that thought with you for when you do a normal map, maybe. Yeah, so the thing I was going to talk about is it kind of relates to orb stacking, but it's when you have notes on a rail. So let's say instead of this being an orb stack, it was a rail, but with a bunch of notes in it. Like so. As a Force player, this is super annoying. I'm just going to be blunt. It has the drawback that that an orb stack does. That you don't want to play it the same way as an orb stack, because you want to bap the notes. You don't want to do a smooth motion through here, but you have the rail there, so your hand is kind of forced into the smooth motion. But at the same time, you have all these notes that you can't bap. You don't have enough time to like wind up and bap them, and they're on a rail, so you can't move your hand far enough away from the rail to get a wind up to bap them. So basically what you're doing with this is saying, hey buddy, I know you were playing Force, but for these measures, you're just not playing Force anymore. So bear that in mind when you're mapping. It's not to say that putting notes on a rail is bad. You probably noticed me putting notes on rails plenty of times. But I try to do it with some kind of directional change, such that, see, this might be a decent enough example. Well, they're at the beginning of and the end of like the small rail. Where was this section? Okay, yeah. So you can bap that first one, and then you can kind of, you know, while you're riding the rail, wind up to bap that note. And then same thing with this one, and same thing with that one. So putting them in places, A, where they're temporally spaced far enough that the player can wind up, and B, where there's some kind of change in direction, I think makes those easier. Although probably the first point is more important than the second point. It's probably more important to have enough time spaced in between them. Because even, let's see, maybe if I just go back to this and redo that rail, and like let's say there weren't so many nodes to hit. Now that's probably not the way I would do it with this rhythm, but see, like that's enough time for you to bap that note and wind up and bap that note. Maybe even doing it like every other taken out, like so. That might be a little fast, might be a little bit annoying as a Force player, but hopefully I'm communicating the idea that if you're gonna do rails with notes on them, and it's too rapid, that basically you just can't play Force on it. I mean, you can play force, but you just end up playing it like it wasn't force. So yeah, that's probably. I mean, it's probably not all I have to say about that, but I'm just gonna stop now. So yeah, cross that off my list of things to talk about. Before moving on to more general things, we just finished downscaling a couple maps. You might be wondering, is it worth it? And for, like, this is a fairly recent development for me to make a habit of making downscale difficulties. Part of it's that I'm selfish and I just like to make maps that I like to play, and so why make the downscale difficulty? Second, I assume that that most players who take the extra effort to grab custom maps are probably decent players. Like, I assume that, like, if you're new to this game, that you're just going to play the OST, and then, you know, you kind of get good and, or competent at least, and maybe get bored with just playing the OST, and then you branch out into custom maps. But that might not be the case. And also, frankly, I just forget that, like, basically, I was already playing, like, Expert Plus on Beat Saber, so, like, it took me, like, 10 seconds of playing on hard and, like, 30 minutes of playing on Expert before I was back to playing Masters and Synth Riders. And it's fairly easy to forget that, like, there are people who, like, this might be their first rhythm game, and so it might take them a little bit of time to work up to Masters, but they still might want to go out there and play, like, custom maps with songs that they like and things like that. I'm told that the player base in general is roughly, this is my interpretation of what was said, is roughly kind of a bell-shaped curve. That most people are playing in the hump of the curve. They're playing normal, hard, and expert. And the tails of the curve are in easy and master. You don't have many people playing those. And since at that point I've been making like 80% masters only maps, I was like, is this a good use of my time to, like, make maps that, like, the vast majority of players aren't playing? So that's a good part of what got me turned around, and the other part of it is that I was frankly surprised at how little time it takes to downscale the map. At least if you're a hacky hack like me and you don't try to redo everything when you downscale it, and you don't try to redo too much within the same map. Those compounded time savings again make it fairly convenient to downscale things. If your mapping style is different, you might, not get such dividends off of downscaling the map. But anyhow, so once you're more or less done, you're like, okay, I did everything. Like, it's good. I play tested it. Actually, a different thing I want to talk about first. Hopefully in the whole process of this video, I've kind of illustrated the process of, like, you don't just put things down and they're done. Like, you put things down and, like, most of the time you go, it's not good. And then you tweak it and then it gets better, and then you tweak it and it gets better. And hopefully you tweak it enough to where, like, it's personally enjoyable and exciting for you, to where you're like, yeah, this is good. Like, I'm onto something here. I'm not sure if I ever got there with this map. Part of it's that I'm kind of mapping for demonstration purposes. Part of it's that it's kind of hard to get there without being excited by the song. But hopefully I've at least illustrated that, like, you don't just put things down and they're fine. You put things down and you try them out and you improve them and improve them. Eventually you get to something that's pretty good. So I think a lesson is don't feel bad if, like, you're mapping and you just have this, like, what am I doing? Like, this is awful. Like, that happens to me on most maps. There's usually some point, like an hour or two into it, where I go, like, can I even make this work? Like, I like this song and everything. Like, it's just not coming together. Maybe it's the song, maybe it's me. I don't even know if this is gonna work at all. But eventually you push through it. Um, and secondly, again, don't just like sit there and like map the whole thing start to finish and go like, yep, I think everything is fine, and publish it. Like, do a section, play test it, get it good, move on to the next section, rinse, repeat. So yeah, once you're there, once you feel like, the map is good, you like it, you enjoy playing it, maybe for at least some parts of the map you're excited by it. You're like, yes, this is good. Like, I want other people to play this so they can feel what I'm feeling right now. Once you're there, you probably want to play test it a bit more. You probably want to, if you can, share it with other people to play test before going through with anything. That might be a little bit tricky to do if you're like me and you don't want to just like PM other mappers and be like, dude, play my map and tell me what sucks about it. You can go to the Synth Riders mod Discord, and there's like a channel for map testing, and put it there. Might not get a lot of response from it, but sometimes I'll put things there and I'll get responses, and those responses will be helpful. Another thing is to just let it simmer for a bit. The analogy I use is like if you just finished a paper for school and you need to proofread it. Probably don't proofread it right away, because if you proofread it right away, you're not so much reading the paper as you're like looking over it with your eyes while reciting the paper from memory. You probably want to sleep on it at least, and try to forget the paper enough that you can get something that approximates like a cold reading of the paper. And then things will start to jump out at you that you just automatically glanced over before, because you assumed that what you wanted to write was what you in fact wrote, and it wasn't. Same sort of thing with mapping. I think taking a break in between finishing a map and doing sort of the final quality control on the map will help things jump out at you. It's probably not a substitute for having somebody else play test a map, but sometimes, other people can't be bothered. Not to slight other people with that. Like, you have things to do other than like, help other people fix their maps, So yeah, that would be sort of my general advice. Other things to consider: make sure that the scale in Synth Riders is appropriate for you when you're testing the map. Like if like sometimes when I'm playing, I'll just turn the scale down to 1.0 because like this particular map is way spread out, and I don't think the mapper, was playing it at a higher scale when they should have been. But when you're playtesting your own map, make sure that it's 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, whatever the game thinks you should be playing at, so that if somebody else is also playing at that it seems about right to them. Whereas if you just tested it out in 1.0 and everything seemed fine, you may have, and then it scales up to like 1.2 or 1.3. It may be like way more spread out than you intended. Another thing to consider is when trying to figure out like, is this appropriate difficulty for a map? I think probably mapping the map gives you sort of a handicap when it comes to playing it. That like you know what the map is gonna do. You're already prepared for it. It's probably going to be easier for you. Well, almost certainly going to be easier for you than somebody playing the map cold. So it's something to consider. I think I in the past have done things where like I'll go a little bit overboard, more so with like the physicality than the difficulty of the map, because like it feels good to me, but a player playing it cold probably isn't digging it. So yeah. I think that more or less covers everything. I think for this particular project, I'll just kind of call it a wrap here. In reality, I would do some of those things that I mentioned, like sit on it for a while and play test it and post it and offer it for other people to play test and so on and so forth. But for demonstration purposes, I think I can probably call it a wrap here. What I'll probably do is, rather than like publish this as normal, because I don't know if I really want to publish this as normal, because I don't want people playing this and thinking that like, oh, hey, this is an underdog map, and then going like, this isn't as good as the other maps, which, probably isn't. So maybe then this can just kind of be our own little special thing, and I'll put it unpublished on the website, put a link in the video description, and maybe put the raw files in, like the raw unencrypted file in Google Drive or something like that, and link that too in case anybody wants this to open up in the map editor. So with that, I think I'll call it a wrap. If there's discussion to be had, I guess do it in the YouTube comments. Can't guarantee I'll be very vigilant about reading and responding to those, but maybe I will. I don't know. You can also find me around the various Synth Riders Discords. So feel free to post there and at me or things like that. So hey, it's been fun. Hypothetical person in the future who I'm talking to whilst talking to myself. Take it easy. I hope it's been helpful.